I didn't plan for the night to end like that. It started with a dress, a silky red slip I'd bought on a whim and never had the courage to wear until tonight. My best friend, Emily, convinced me to go out after weeks of moping around from a breakup that left more scars than I cared to admit. "You need a rebound," she said. "Or at least a spark." I laughed it off, but some reckless piece of me agreed. So I wore the red dress. The downtown rooftop bar pulsed with summer heat and bass drops. The air smelled of citrus cocktails and warm skin. I had only taken 2 sips of my drink when I saw him. He was leaning against the railing, whiskey in hand, navy button-down rolled to his elbows. Tall, calm, the kind of man who didn't chase attention. He just pulled it in. His eyes met mine. Green. Piercing. And then he smiled. I looked away. But 5 minutes later, he was next to me, his voice low and smooth. "You don't look like you want to be here." I glanced up. "And you do." "Not really," he said. "But now I'm glad I came." That line should have made me roll my eyes, but it didn't. Maybe it was the sincerity in his voice, or the way he didn't lean too close, just enough to let me decide. "I'm Lucy," I said. "Jackson." We talked. Just like that, with the music fading into background noise and the crowd disappearing. He wasn't trying to impress me. He didn't ask for my number or talk about his job. He just listened, laughed, and made me forget I'd ever been heartbroken. When the bartender announced last call, Jackson leaned in and said, "Let me walk you out." I nodded. We stepped into the warm night. I should have called a rideshare. I should have said goodnight. But instead, I hesitated. "You okay?" he asked, reading my silence. "I don't want to go home yet," I whispered. His eyes searched mine. "You don't have to." The offer hung there, heavy, electric. I didn't know him. Not really. But something about Jackson felt safe. And dangerous in all the right ways. He took a step closer, his voice softer. "My place is a block away. No pressure." I stared at him. I could still say no. But I didn't. I nodded. He didn't say anything. He just reached for my hand, laced his fingers through mine, and led me down the quiet sidewalk. My heart beat louder than my heels on the pavement. When we reached his building, he opened the door, then paused at the stairs. "Your shoes," he said, glancing at my heels. Before I could answer, he bent down, lifted me into his arms effortlessly, and smiled like he'd been waiting for an excuse. I gasped, but I didn't stop him. My arms looped around his neck. His scent, clean, woodsy, filled my nose as he carried me up 3 flights. When we reached the apartment, he pushed the door open with his shoulder and set me down gently inside. Then he closed it. Locked it. I froze, not from fear. From awareness. The click of the lock wasn't threatening. It was intentional. Jackson stepped back, giving me space, but his eyes were anything but distant. "Do you want to stay?" I swallowed, my voice soft. "Yes." That was all he needed. He came toward me slowly, one hand reaching up to brush a strand of hair from my face. His touch was gentle, but it made every nerve in my body light up. "You're stunning, Lucy." I exhaled shakily, his words leaving a warm trace down my skin. Then he kissed me. It was slow, searching, like he wanted to memorize the taste of my lips. His hands didn't rush. They held my waist like I was something precious. I leaned into him, my fingers sliding over the buttons of his shirt, feeling the heat of his chest beneath. He pulled me closer, and I could feel the tension between us, built up from hours of stolen glances and subtle flirtation. When he deepened the kiss, it wasn't urgent. It was full of meaning, of connection, of something that didn't feel like a one-night escape. His mouth moved to my neck, his hands sliding up my back, careful and deliberate. My breath hitched. I didn't expect it to feel so right. He led me through the apartment, past the soft lighting and clean wood floors, until we reached his bedroom. A large bed with navy sheets, windows cracked open to the night breeze. He didn't rush. He looked at me as if asking again. I nodded. We lay down slowly, limbs tangled, heat building. The dress slipped down my shoulder, his hand brushing it aside as he kissed the spot just beneath my collarbone. Every touch felt like poetry, soft, slow, and deeply intimate. It wasn't just lust. It was something more. His fingertips traced the curve of my waist, his eyes never leaving mine. "You're beautiful," he murmured. "You don't even know me," I whispered. "I know enough," he said, brushing his lips against my cheek. "Enough to want more." We moved together in a rhythm that felt like music only we could hear, touches that said more than words ever could. I felt seen, wanted, not just for my body, but for something deeper. Afterward, we lay tangled in the sheets, the city humming outside. My head rested against his chest, listening to the steady beat of his heart. "Was that a mistake?" I asked quietly. "No," he said instantly, his voice firm. "Not even close." I looked up at him. "We don't even know where this is going." He smiled, brushing a thumb across my cheek. "Then let's figure it out together." I didn't plan for the night to end like that. I didn't plan to be carried into a stranger's room, locked behind a door, kissed like I was the only woman in the world. But sometimes the unplanned moments are the ones that change everything. And Jackson? He was no longer a stranger. He was the beginning of something I never knew I needed.